Is sacrificing long-term financial freedom worth bringing back a familiar face who could light up scoreboards but might clog up an already crowded backcourt rotation? The NBA rumor mill just dropped a potential bombshell that has Lakers fans split right down the middle. We're talking about Malik Monk potentially making his Hollywood return, but this time the price tag includes shipping out Rui Hachimura plus future draft capital to Sacramento. Before you get too excited or too worried, let's dive deep into what this move would really mean for both franchises and whether it makes any basketball sense whatsoever. Malik Monk isn't just another scorer we're discussing here. This is a player who can absolutely catch fire and single-handedly change the momentum of games when he gets hot. His ability to create his own shot and break down defenses represents exactly the kind of explosive offensive weapon that playoff teams desperately need when their primary offensive sets stall out. But here's where things get complicated. The Lakers already have a pretty crowded backcourt situation brewing. According to Rui Hachimura from Fadeaway World, this trade scenario would send Hakamura, a 2031 first-round pick, and a 2032 second-round pick to Sacramento in exchange for Monk's services. From a pure salary matching perspective, this deal works perfectly since Monk's earning $18, $7 million this season while Hakamura makes $18, $2 million. The numbers align beautifully, but the real question becomes whether the basketball fit makes sense for either organization. Let's start with what Monk would bring to the Lakers' championship aspirations. His elite scoring ability and shot creation would provide another legitimate offensive threat alongside the team's established stars. When you're talking about playoff basketball, having multiple players who can generate their own offense becomes absolutely crucial during those moments when the game slows down and every possession matters. Monk has proven throughout his career that he can get hot quickly and put up points in bunches, which is exactly what championship contenders need from their bench production. The timing aspect makes this even more intriguing. If the Lakers are genuinely committed to maximizing what might be LeBron James' final championship window, adding immediate offensive firepower could be the difference between a first-round exit and a deep playoff run. Monk's ability to heat up rapidly means he could be that X-factor player who swings crucial games during the most important time of year. But here's where Lakers fans need to pump the brakes and consider the broader implications. The backcourt rotation is already getting pretty crowded with Marcus Smart, Austin Reeves, Bronny James, and Gabe Vincent all fighting for meaningful minutes. Adding Monk to this mix creates a legitimate rotation nightmare for the coaching staff. How do you distribute minutes fairly while keeping everyone engaged and maintaining defensive integrity? The defensive concerns cannot be ignored either. Monk has never been known as a lockdown defender, and his arrival would create some serious questions about how the Lakers maintain their defensive identity. Smart brings that bulldog mentality. Reeves provides steady two-way contribution, but Monk's value has always been tilted heavily toward the defensive end. In playoff basketball, having too many defensive liabilities can get exploited by smart opponents. From Sacramento's perspective, this trade makes considerable sense as a salary dump move with some upside attached. They've been trying to move Monk's contract for a while now, previously attempting to deal him to Golden State for Jonathan Kuminga before that fell through. The Kings are clearly looking to create financial flexibility while getting some value in return, rather than just eating dead money. Hakamura represents an interesting acquisition for Sacramento because his contract situation provides them with options. He's on an expiring deal, which means they could use him as a rental player to help their playoff push, or flip him again before the trade deadline if they decide to go in a different direction. His recent production has been solid enough to maintain trade value, and his versatility gives them lineup flexibility they might not have had before. Those future draft picks, while not immediately impactful, provide Sacramento with long-term assets they can either use for their own development or package in future trades. The 2031 first-rounder, especially, could have significant value depending on how the Lakers' championship window plays out over the next few seasons. Here's where this trade gets really interesting from a financial strategy standpoint. The Lakers currently have $111 million in expiring contracts next summer, which positions them perfectly for the 2026 free agency class that could be absolutely loaded with superstar talent. Taking on Monk's contract, which runs to the 2027-28 season, would significantly reduce that flexibility unless he performs at an all-star level. This creates a fascinating dilemma for Rob Pelinka and the Lakers front office. Do they prioritize immediate championship contention by adding proven offensive firepower, or do they maintain maximum financial flexibility for potentially landing another superstar in free agency? There's no obviously correct answer here, and reasonable basketball minds could argue either direction. The championship window consideration adds another layer of complexity. If the Lakers genuinely believe they can win a title in the next 2 seasons with their current core, then sacrificing future flexibility for immediate improvement makes perfect sense. Championships are incredibly difficult to win, and when you have a legitimate opportunity, you push all your chips to the center of the table. But if there's any doubt about their ability to compete with the Western Conference's elite teams, then maintain that 2026 flexibility becomes crucial for the franchise's long-term health. The difference between being a perennial playoff team and being a championship contender often comes down to having that financial freedom to make game-changing additions. Monk's fit alongside the Lakers' existing offensive system also raises some questions. His high-usage style could potentially clash with other players who need the ball in their hands to be effective. Playoff rotations typically tighten up significantly, which means someone's minutes are getting reduced if this trade happens. The coaching staff would need to figure out how to maximize everyone's strengths while minimizing potential conflicts. The injury factor cannot be overlooked either. Basketball is a physically demanding sport, and having depth at every position becomes crucial when players inevitably miss time due to various ailments. Adding Monk provides insurance against backcourt injuries, but also creates the challenge of keeping everyone engaged when they're all healthy. Looking at this from a pure basketball analytics perspective, Monk's offensive efficiency and shot creation ability would likely improve the Lakers' overall offensive rating. His presence would give them another legitimate scoring threat that opposing defenses would need to account for, potentially creating better looks for other players. But his defensive limitations could negatively impact their defensive rating, creating a net result that might not be as positive as it initially appears. The salary cap implications extend beyond just the immediate future too. Taking on Monk's contract affects their flexibility for mid-level exceptions, trade scenarios, and other roster construction tools that championship teams need to maintain competitive depth. These seemingly minor financial details often make the difference between being able to add that final piece or being stuck with roster gaps. Here's the million-dollar question that Lakers fans need to wrestle with. Is Malik Monk the type of player who moves a championship needle enough to justify sacrificing future flexibility and potentially disrupting their current chemistry? His scoring ability is undeniable, but championship teams need more than just individual talent. They need the right combination of skills, personalities, and situational awareness. The answer probably depends on how confident the organization feels about their current trajectory and whether they believe this addition pushes them over the top against teams like the defending champions and other Western Conference powerhouses. What's your take on this potential deal? Should the Lakers prioritize immediate offensive firepower or maintain their financial flexibility for future star hunting? Drop your thoughts in the comments and hit that like button if you're as torn about this decision as every Lakers fan should be right now.